Here.
Trustee Early?
Here.
Trustee Miller?
Here.
Trustee Murphy?
Here.
Trustee Milano?
Here. Okay, welcome everyone. Calling the meeting to order, our monthly meeting. Start off report police department.
Good evening, everybody.
Nice Sheriff.
No, it isn't. Already told me to cover it over.
For the month of June, we had 59 service calls. Year-to-date, that's 377. We had 4 arrests in the month of June. All were for VTL, traffic violations. One was for a suspended insurance, which in New York State actually falls under a misdemeanor. We also had 3 individuals driving with a suspended license. Year-to-date, we've had 11 arrests so far. For moving violations for the month, we had 54 moving violations. We had 109 parking summonses. Total number of tickets for the month are 163, and for the year it was 598. We had some festivals to deal with last month. We had the Hudson Beer and Craft Festival. So far, I've heard nothing. Everything went off perfectly. We've had no issues with that. I had no calls for service, anything to do with that. So that went well. And we just had the Community Day, which also I've gotten no complaints and no issues from as of yet. And everything went off without a hitch. Traffic was, after the fireworks were over, they got back out pretty quickly. Normally it takes a good hour to get everybody out of Lower Main. I think we got everybody out of there within 40 minutes this year. Like I said, there was no calls for any service from us that evening. Other than that, that's all I have.
Okay. Thank
The wine event is coming up in August. Have you contacted her?
I'm going to be sending her an email. I spoke to the regional captain for the state police who covers lower Hudson Valley and this area, and he said he had no idea what state police they use, because it said they use the state police and a local security company. I'd like to get to find out who they're using, especially the local security company. I'd like to get a hold of them, and also, if the captain's telling me he knows nothing about the detail, they use the state police, I gotta find out what they're doing with that.
She's previously done this in Pine Valley with the state police, well, the sheriff department takes over it. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and if it's gonna be a big event, I really like to put on at least 1 extra officer. I'd have to have 1 that does patrolling of the village that day, and 1 for traffic flow down on that area, so that's 2 days, that's a 2-day event. So, and parking is limited unless they're looking to, buy out the lot for the day, for the 2 days. I don't know if they approached you guys on that or not. That was one small issue with the beer fest. They were parking around the water treatment plant. They left it open where we can get, if we needed to get Greg's guys in or not, but they kind of went on the grass. They were spoken to after the fact that, this guy said it was okay, that guy said okay, they didn't really ask me. I don't know if they asked anybody from the board or not, but that seems to be the MO sometimes. The mayor told me yes, or somebody at the board told me yes, and they didn't come,
It was on my agenda.
they didn't reach out to me. That was the only complaint we did have was they parked on our property on the grass outside of the water plant, which I forgot about. The only other thing I want to bring up is I know myself and Fran Murphy went around a couple of weeks ago with the signs, and we noticed some signs that were put up illegally by residents. There's one handicap sign on Stone Street that was put up. It's just a handicap sign that's not on a list. And there's a few other things I really would like to go over before the end of the summer with the board. Really kind of tackle this once and for all on the signage for the whole village, whether it's going to be all 4-hour parking, whatever we're going to decide we would like to try to change it to. That's going to help everybody. There's some other parking issues I'd like no parking at all on, but that's something later for us to discuss. But I really like to get together now that the festivities are kind of over, that we can really tackle that before the fall.
I'll try to pull an outline together in the next couple of weeks, so that's what you and I did.
Yep. Thank you.
If we get the recommendations from you guys, and then we can look at them in advance, and then we'll set up a workshop.
Sure.
And the film went off good on Monday?
Oh, no problem. I thought it was gonna be an all-day event. They got there by 6 o'clock. They were done by 12 in the village, and they took off, so I had no problems with that.
Okay.
I worked out.
Thank you. Let's see, recreation.
You and I talked about the new fees, and so in tonight's minutes, I just had, trying to make them the same as the Dockside agreement. We've eliminated the fee for maintenance and added that into the regular fee.
Right.
Some of the other ones are just tweaks because of things that have happened recently and we've agreed to informally about municipal organizations using the facilities and paying deposit only. So if you can have a chance to go over those. I just did want to go over parking though, because the site plan for Saturday's event, the Hops Festival, did not have parking noted at the pavilion, and they were over, I mean, it was packed. The pavilion area.
From what I was told, when they supposedly had gotten the permit, that they were allowed to park some vehicles, but this is what they told me, that they had some vehicles that could park by the pavilion. That's what they told me in the morning.
How many do you think were there?
I
Miss
didn't,
Paul?
I saw it was full, and that has to be addressed, so, at the next festival. I saw it was full,
Yeah.
and I thought that was you here also, so I think we just have to have that either on the form, or it has to be enforced, but
Right. Yeah.
they have to know that they can't park there.
And again, the different stories, when the person from the village was working at, they said, oh, that was on the site plan, that's not on the site plan. We wouldn't have approved them to park body cars at the pavilion.
Yeah.
I mean, they were driving over the roots of the willow trees and stuff like that. So we probably have to amend the
Well, we
application.
keep that, if Bruce is gonna be the person to go to, or the contact person, he can lock the gates. I mean, they should be locked on that end so that they can't get in there.
Yeah, although they said it was an exit, that's how.
They said what?
They have on the site plan that was an exit, so, but for any future
An
events.
exit for who? The cars that aren't supposed to be parked there?
People walking out, I don't know.
I guess emergencies.
Okay, well, I think we should keep it locked. There should be a reason
Okay,
why.
so we need to put that somewhere in that application, and that,
Right.
that's not a
Right.
parking area.
Yeah.
The only other thing that's on there, we finally do have Padala coming to look at the electrical stuff that we want, that's a high priority at the bandstand and the two parks. And I just wanted to bring your attention that one of the members had a concern about the condition of the Cannon Memorial at the riverfront, and who's responsible for that, and does it need to be looked at, and, you know, I see Fran going like this, so I don't.
The veterans were gonna look at it. Terry Leahy went down with his son-in-law. They knew everything they were gonna do with it, and obviously it never moved past that, so I'll ask them again.
Okay. So those are just,
Okay.
unless you have anything.
Also on the, well, I think also on the, if there's like the Hop Fest or the big things that they can't, if there's, especially if there's any kind of rain in the forecast, they can't be pulling onto the fields and running across the fields. They're lucky they didn't. They had everything set up, and they were just, when I went down earlier, they were driving back and forth, and I said, you gotta go keep along the fence at least, and that's when we had a plan if it's raining, which they didn't. So if it gets wet and these people are driving all over, I told, well, I go, unless you wanna pay for stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna be liable for whatever happens, but I don't think we want our field destroyed.
And I guess for, just as other groups who come to ask about situations, we do have the wine one coming, and then there is another one, there's another possible dog event in October. Is for vendors, is that parking at the highway department gonna be something we're gonna consider in general? Is that just a one-time deal to see how it was?
I think we should consider it. I mean, if they're gonna have people, then we'll keep them off there. I don't know, we can fine tune that also with Larry and Bugsy and ask how that went. When I went down there, it was orderly, but I don't know if something happened before that.
Yeah.
But they pay for it, and if it's open and it keeps people congestion off the streets, I think we should,
Okay.
that should be available.
That was basically just for the vendors, right, not for.
Yeah, it was.
Right, it was for, my understanding was supposed to be for vendors, so I don't know who was parking at the other place.
yeah, it was vendors from what, I was down there earlier, it was all vendors.
At the pavilion?
No, down at the highway park.
Not yet, but I
And
don't
they
know
had-
who,
they
I
had-
don't know who we had parking at. the
Yeah, and they had
pavilion.
a parking attendant there, and they kind of did what we asked them to do, not to park certain areas, and they did do that.
Okay, so we'll fine tune these things this week.
Yep, I know, yep.
Thank you.
Tuning fork.
Zoning Board, monthly report, new business, ZBA receives a partial application for 13 Stone Street to convert a one-car garage into a two-car garage. and add a porch. Setback and lot coverage variances are requested. A workshop with the applicant will be scheduled after the application is complete. Old business, 21 Parsonage, on June 20th, shortly before the scheduled ZBA meeting, the applicant withdrew the application. ZBA will take no further action or discussion unless a new application is filed. The withdrawn application had requested variances for lot size parking, side and front setbacks, 50-foot by 50-foot square fits in the lot, in order to convert or replace an old barn shed into a house on an otherwise vacant lot in the R1 district. Current business, none. Town of Phillipstown, no one here. Historic District Review. Current projects in June received applications for 20 The Boulevard modifications, 13 Stone Street, 56 Bowling Avenue, and the Julia Butterfield Library. We also had 2 workshops regarding the Butterfield complex, 1 workshop pertaining to design changes on building 4, 5, and 6, and a 2nd workshop for signage at the New York Presbyterian Hudson Valley Hospital building and elsewhere around the development. For our July monthly meeting, July 10th, we have received a request for review of 224 Main Street. We have also scheduled a follow-up workshop for Butterfield on July 24th for both signage and building 4, 5, and 6 design. Board work projects, we've discussed as a board adding grace period to approve certificates of appropriateness during which modifications will be reviewed without requiring an additional application and application fee, whether it be for a period of 12 months or 18 months. We feel there is a point at which the types of changes that are requested, such as signage or exterior decoration, particularly on commercial projects, constitute new ideas and should be treated with their own application process. We have loosely discussed increasing our fees several times, but have not passed any definitive motions. We will discuss and finalize before the fall building season is underway. Well, yours, Steve.
All right.
Need some water?
Well, hold on. Cold Spring Fire Company, #1, responded to 20 fire calls in the month of June. And that's all they get. It's Josh DiNardo.
Sure.
That's really not fire calls, right? It's not, they're
I
not,
don't think there were 20 fires in the village, no.
No.
But they just call them fire calls when they have to go out, fire company.
We do not have anything from Tree Advisory. Jen is away on vacation. Code update?
the Code Update Committee regretfully accepted the resignation of Ann Pellizzeri. The month of June was spent in continued review of all chapters in the village code for consistency and clarity. Consistency and clarity are one of the 2 topics for Phase 5. The CUC has requested feedback from the village board on these recommended changes. These reviews will continue through the month of June. The CUC will meet in July to review the full set of recommended changes to the village code, including the feedback from the village board. At that time, the CUC will develop a schedule for the remaining activities in 2019. The June conference call with NYSERDA was conducted. No issues were raised by NYSERDA.
So while we're on that, and I'm sure you won't be happy with this, but I think we need an extended amount of time, short amount of time, for the feedback from the village.
How much time?
I would like to have to the end of July.
Okay.
I just have not, I sent you the short ones, but I still have two chapters to go over.
I'm
And every-
behind too. But I think I can probably get mine done by the end of the week.
Steve, can you do yours by the end of July?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And Fran?
Yes, I will.
I don't trust
If
Fran.
not, we'll move forward and,
Well, if not, as it turns out, our NYSERDA date is in jeopardy.
mhm. But they've changed it and we've moved dates before. Requesting dates because they want us to actually be successful and work towards finalizing this.
They have changed it twice,
Mhm.
and at the point that we're at now, I think their patience is wearing thin.
Okay.
After
After
we give you our reports, then you have to all go through them again and then set a public hearing, right?
After you provide all of the reports, then that has to be converged or consolidated with the recommended changes from the code update committee. After that, we have to have our phase 5 public meeting. After that, the village board has to review, they have to do a secra, there has to be a public hearing on all of the changes to the code, and then the village board, after they close the public hearing, they have to vote on all of the changes. That all needs to be done by the end of 2019.
And we want to push through.
Pardon?
I'll push through as fast as I can.
So you're one person short now on the board also, on your, on the committee?
I'm down by 2.
What's that?
Down by 2.
Down by 2, okay.
At this point, adding more people
It's not
is,
good.
is not, it's really not a viable alternative.
Okay.
Unless they've been on the board before. If they have prior knowledge, then that would work. If they don't, it would, the education process would be significant.
Right, thank you. Water wastewater department. Before we get into this, we received the official resignation, which we'll be discussing later, of our long time superintendent, Greg Phillips. As I said in an email, I will save my my praise and accolades for later, but needless to say, we all appreciate your professionalism and your dedication to the plant. And I, for one, never complained about any type of discolored water, so make note of that.
You're not on that list.
I'm not on that list, yeah, exactly. So anyway, just, you know, like I said, we'll deal with that later, but, you know, I'm glad that you stuck with it. You're one of the few people that were here for a long time that stayed for, you know, a few years after I took over. Seemed like everyone that was here for 30 or 35 years had finally had it. Anyway, I do appreciate it, and I think everyone here appreciates you, you know, being down there, and we always feel confident things are going right, and you're always doing the best possible with what you have. So thank you, and sure we will have a little get together later on. So thank you. Also, I guess you'll be introducing Matt tonight, or if you'd like me to do that, or would you like to?
Who's gonna
Okay, so sitting to Greg's right, my left, is Matt Krug, who we hired 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. Matt has a wealth of knowledge also, and has worked for many municipalities in the area, so it was kind of a long, strange hire, because Greg, you know, hadn't resigned. He wasn't sure if something could come up, but we were also, it's not like you just go out and get a, you know, water super. They're not like, you know, just running around knocking your doors down, trying to get into. So Greg brought it up a number of times, and we thought we should start the search early, and to our surprise, we had a winner, and, and so we were really fortunate. But then, you know, there was a time where he had to give notice to his boss, and we had to work with us, and we were waiting for Greg. So it was a bit of an anxious period. We didn't want to lose Matt, didn't want to lose Greg either. But it all kind of worked out, and we stuck with it. So anyway, this Matt Krug, welcome, and we're glad to have you with us.
Thank you.
Matt will be shadowing Greg till the 26th, 25th? 26th. So, welcome.
All right, if you start up with the wastewater report, we are setting up a date for startup of the portable emergency generator that we got as part of the Market Street project, the funding for EFC. Is a portable generator that would get towed down to Campbell Avenue and Market Street, because they don't have a dedicated generator, and hooked up down there, you know, periodically, you know, if we had an extended loss of power. So that gets started up, and that we have to get the vendor who sold it down to us, as well as our engineer, as well as all our guys, and our electrician, because 3-phase, we want to make sure all the rotations, blah, 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 everything works out. So that's going to happen at the end of the month. And everyone will get training on that, and then it'll be official that there's a 1-year warranty period that starts at that point. So that unit, that'll happen at the end of the month.
Greg, before you go on, I sent you an email on 5/5/30 The EFC, I am delinquent in the MWBE report for the generator. It appears as if was the generator an add-on to the original project?
It was,
Okay.
but it was also done through the state.
Yeah, the EFC,
OTS situation,
right.
So I think they met all of it.
Right, and so the problem is, I have no MWBE reports from the primary contractor, whom I believe is Best, what's the name?
I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Have you received any?
I have not, I also not looked for it, but they're certified MWBE with the state, so
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be hard to get a hold of.
I know they're certified, but what we have to do is file the percentages of MWBE of the contract, and it has to meet the EFC identified.
Remember that language happening early on, so I don't think it's gonna be that hard to get a hold of, because that was consideration right out of the box that we'd be able to use it because it met.
Have
So,
we paid them yet?
I gotta check with Michelle, I believe so.
Okay. So what we might be able to do is file a final report. We might be able to file a first quarter and final report, since it's a purchase of equipment as opposed to work, which is done. So you'll have an email
Okay.
in your inbox. And Matt, I didn't have an email address for you, so look over his shoulder if you wouldn't mind.
It's the same one, we're keeping continuity on Mount Hazen.
Great, Sheila.
All done, no confusion. We've received 2 or 3 pilot study reports regarding the sludge dewatering units that we've had in the last month and a half. Then our engineers will assess the data and provide conceptual cost estimates for the project for your consideration to decide whether you want to go. And then, you know, if we go at that point, then it would be a whole bidding process and whatnot. But next steps are we're actually going down to Suffern, and Rockland County has one of the units in line for the last 7 years. So we're going to get to talk to the guys to see what kind of, if they've had any issues with service and that type of thing. So that'll help us as well.
The companies that came down, are they also, they sent a report?
They've sent their lab, basically they've set up a small lab,
Right.
and they did their, percent solids and all that type of stuff as far as how well it was dried. So we get all that data back, and then they look into how much the unit would cost, what size unit they recommend for our application, that type
So
of
they're
thing.
not to that stage of recommending, or coming up with the total, or what the estimated cost would be?
That's the next step.
And that's done by them, not by our engineer?
Well, we have to tell them what flow rates we're looking to
Okay.
get, what we're trying to get it in and out of there in a day or a week or whatever, and then they size the unit according to that. And then all 3 units are very similar. So, it should be a pretty much an apples to apples comparison as to see what kind of numbers they'd be looking at. It's not technically a bid at that point, but, we're gonna see how much all the equipment costs from each one of the vendors at that point, so. All right, water department. Last month, we performed a low rate flush of the distribution system. At the end of the month, due to some discoloration issues, used about 500,000 gallons of water. Now that the spring rains have ended and our drawdown of reservoir supply begins, that remedy is no longer available to us. As well, we should speak of voluntary conservation measures, especially with regard to outdoor water use, such as watering gardens and lawns, early morning, late evening, not in the heat of the midday where you lose it to evaporation, that type of stuff. EPA.gov has suggestions for all sorts of water conservation, and people could get information off of that as well. The Cascade DEP project, we received correspondence over the weekend from Bart that describes another month with lack of attention from them, and he outlines the main issues with regard to the water supply agreement, which in current form would force major expenditures for all 3 municipalities. It would be us, Nelsonville, and Phillipstown, the way they've got what their terms are in the water supply agreement. So what I'm recommending is, and I did speak to Bart briefly about it, is since it's 3 municipalities involved, that maybe we have a workshop where we can go over everything with John First and Bart and a rep from all the neighboring municipalities. One of the things they're asking for in this is that right now we produce water and we sell it to Nelsonville and we sell it to Phillipstown, right? They're looking for Phillipstown to have its own water district formed, which you already know is very expensive, and Supervisor Shea said they're not interested in doing. And also that Nelsonville, I mean, there's only one pipe that comes down Main Street and then splits off into Nelsonville. They're looking for a separate set of supply lines to be in Nelsonville, which will be metered on their own. Now, we meter their usage, but they want to know pipe flows in the ground. I mean, we're talking millions of dollars. It's ridiculous. It's not reasonable. And that's one of the things that we have to decide whether we're going to go ahead with the agreement the way it is, just to get us into construction for our dams and then fight it out afterwards, or, it's just, we need to get everything out on the table and talk about it all to decide what the best course of action is. But there's a lot out there. So I figure if we get everybody in the same place at the same time and go from there, I think that's the best way to go at this stage. And then Matt Group started on the 24th, and my last day is the 26th. So I think the transition is going to be seamless.
Hope so.
I said I think the transition will be seamless because he started on the 24th. We'll have a good month end of. We've been orienting to the way we operate our facilities. He's got tons of experience in a bunch of different facilities, so there's overlap and how things happen, and then there's things specific to here. So that's what we've been concentrating on, and I think we all said.
Right back to Nelsonville, are there lines that come off the Main Street line that go Division, that go Division, does it go Wood Avenue?
Does not go whatever. There are individual service lines that go whatever.
And what about Billy's Way?
Nothing.
Okay. Does it, I can't remember the name of the street that the Masonic Temple is on. Does it go on that?
Secor?
Yeah, Secor.
There are private lines that go to properties with the blacksmith shop and to the back corner. There are some properties that come through Main Street, through a property to get back to Secor. Nothing about what they want would be easy to do.
Okay. Thanks.
Or inexpensive.
I forget, we discussed this before. Why do they want us to have that? Like, what is their?
It has something to do with their law that says that they cannot, there's only certain types of entities that they can sell water to. But we're looking at it as you're selling it to us, the way that we sell the water out is you're selling it to Cold Spring, and they can't get past that. So, one possibility is one large water district encompassing all 3 municipalities, they can sell to that. The other is to comply with this piping disaster, and the other is to, like I
So
said,
they don't want a
sign
middleman,
it, fight
basically.
with it. What's that?
They don't want a middleman, basically, for lack of a better
Yeah,
description.
I mean, the argument that I put in there is that, we meter, everything's metered anyway, especially with the new metering technology. We can tell everything that's going on. They just want what they want.
Yeah, well, that's not what we want.
It is not what we want.
I got something for you, Greg. When we had the problem with the herbicide along Fishkill Road?
Yes.
They're doing it again. I was down there today doing that water testing. They have weed whacked, and then they've sprayed that on top of it. So there's 30-foot long stretches of dead weeds about 5 feet wide right along.
I'm gonna look into that a little further. I have a feeling that was the arm of the tractor that took everything down to dirt level. The only reason I say that is because especially that area by Rocky Road, we had complaints of people not having good visibility down there. So I think he may have reached in and just mowed that entire thing down to dust. I don't
But it
know,
looks-
we're gonna check into it tomorrow for sure.
Yeah, take a look. It looks like they put bug spray.
It was very-
Everything's dead.
It was very selective, that there's nowhere up, there's only a couple spots up the road, and when they did it, why they would only do it there, it just didn't seem
Well,
to
there's
make
quite a few
sense.
along the way.
Yeah.
I noticed this. I only walked about a half a mile along it, but I saw several spots.
We can make some calls in the morning, and we'll see what we can find out.
It looks like there's so much is dead, it doesn't look like a machine did it.
And
Yeah.
I killed my lawn pretty badly when I was getting there, so it can happen. We're hoping they didn't, because they said they wouldn't.
Yeah, well, I'm
That's all
nervous
we can
about
say.
it now, and when I saw that, I'm like, well, that doesn't look right. So-
Right, yeah, no, make some calls.
I'm not a mowing expert, but,
We'll let you know.
I was looking at it, I think it's from mowing.
Yeah?
I don't think it's from, chemical.
it just looks so wide and everything was dead.
They have a wide arm that goes there, and
Yeah,
if it's high and you cut it low, it burns. You can see it on some of the
We're hoping.
bills too.
Okay.
Hoping that's what it is, but I'll keep, if anything I find out, we'll keep in the loop.
All right, thank you.
That's your last one, right?
That's it.
Never have to, in front of us again.
But if we don't approve the resignation.
We'll have a
then-
debriefing
That's right,
session.
unless we don't approve the resignation.
Debriefing session down at Doug's.
Could you explain one more time why the water's discolored, Doug? Just for old time's sake.
One more time.
I'm joking.
He has, that's one of the pieces of paper that documents he's given Matt is, why is the water brown? He just recited, it's on his phone answering machine also. Report, let's see, building department. New building permits, applications issued 10, building permits issued 5, COs issued 2, record searches completed 11, complaints received 2, referrals generated, HDRB 5, ZBA 1, planning 0, application and permit fees collected $1,163 for the month of June. Also the record search fees collected, so month of June total is $1,988. Highway?
I have to ask a strange request. Does anybody have a copy of my report? Because it's not, thank you very much. Sorry about that. For the month of June, we had 61.26 tons of garbage. Recycling was at 20.77 tons. Most of our work this month revolved around the Independence Day festivities. We washed out all the garbage cans along Main Street and down at the riverfront. We mounted the new grill at Mayor's Park. We got 70% of crosswalks, no parking X's, handicap able, and stop bars painted. We had one brush pickup on June 19th. We painted the ceiling, sump pump doors, downspouts, and window frames of the subway entrances. We painted the doors and windows frames of the public restrooms. We hired Joe Norak to fill the vacant position left by Zach Markey. He's working out very well, by the way. We had Benchmark Automotive Service fix an electrical issue with the fuel pump in the 2011 Ford F-350, which happened before Joe got here. We had Mark Fresendez of Bugsy's Pest Management remove a vacant hornet's nest from the village office building, which he did free of charge. I would like to thank Jerry Odell, Nick DePerno Jr., and the rest of the Putnam County Highway Department for coming and hanging our 4th of July banner in some really wet weather. And that is my report for the month.
Are they scheduled to take down?
It's already down.
Oh, it's
It's
going.
taken down yesterday.
Oh, sweet. Thank you. And thank you for your work on the 7th.
To you as well. I enjoyed it.
Justice Court, fines forfeited, available civil penalties, $5,000, parking tickets, $2,200, civil fees, $280, mandatory state surcharge, $2,488, for a total of $9,968. Report of Mayor and Board of Trustees. Anyone with anything?
The new website.
Okay, I haven't seen it, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
Jeff has said, I mean, I guess in conjunction with the company that manages our website, so if you go on the Village of Cold Spring website, it is now new.
Yeah, that's it. Looks nice.
It looks nice, there's more work to be done on it, but they pretty much put it over what we had in the old one, and they're helping him get used to how to fix it, how to set it up and so on. Eventually, I think each board will be able to put up some stuff in your own areas, but just go take a look, Village of Cold Spring. I guess coldspring.my.gov. It's a nice front. It looks like it's easy to get at this point. There's a lot more work to be done on it.
And it appears as if it now allows someone to go to the website and create an email that gets sent to board members, I'm assuming the mayor and other people, which is how Mary Margaret's email came to me. Apparently she just picked me, or maybe she tried to pick both and only chose one, but that seems like a very nice feature as well.
And I think there's a lot more. I mean, the website we had was old. It got to the point where the company says, we're not gonna support this anymore, this is the new one. We will help you port over everything everything, we'll port everything over for you, and then we'll start training. So Jeff has had some training on it, and he can talk more about it than I can. But it looks nice, and I think it's gonna be a lot more user-friendly. So we're getting there. Other than that, just the other thing, Marie and I are doing the court audit on Friday. Kathy will confirm that. I asked her to double check it today, so we'll be doing that on Friday.
I'll just comment briefly on the July 7th festivities. It wasn't easy this year picking dates, and trying to get people to volunteer is always very hard, so we have limited numbers. Fran and myself and Marie are on the committee and do a lot of the work, and then we try to pull everything together for that day, which isn't easy, and with the rain and the weather is even more difficult. So we had, a lot of, we do it on the 6th, so, not on the day of, because then it's easier to just hope. Well, it seems like it would be easier to postpone and have it the next day for everyone, but that didn't seem to be the case this year, and so a lot of people that had planned on being in the parade couldn't make it. They had other plans for Sunday, so that was a bit disappointing. But, just a thank you to a lot of people out there that have contributed a lot and a lot of money also, especially to the old VFW. This is, I think, their 3rd or 4th year that they've donated the fireworks. The cost is $10,500, so that's, if we want to continue that, I'm sure at some point they won't be sponsoring that, so we have to look ahead to finding someone else that will sponsor that, or try to come up with the money ourselves. The bands are also a problem. Well, the one band canceled. It turned out that they should have been playing, so we're working on getting refunds on that. But luckily, things fell in place with that also, and got another band to come in at the last minute. But mostly, the other thing was we wanted the new citizens to be the grand marshals, and we had 6, and only 1 could show up because everyone, had other plans for Sunday. So we'll be doing a follow-up, a post-mortem in a few weeks, or after we get all the invoices and see where we're at and go over what we can do next year. I do want to make one point, a serious point, because there were rumors out there that we would not allow the vets to march in the parade. Kind of addressed this with one of the people, but we send out at the beginning, like in months in advance, invitations to everyone, including the VFW, American Legion. I think last year we sent out a blanket invite to any vet. And what we got back from the presidents of the 2 organizations is that there was not a lot of interest, or there was no interest in marching. So that's the information we got. So if people are wondering why there weren't vets there, our message was that they weren't interested.
Yeah, I will back that, because I got the message, I got the letters out. As you know, my husband's the commander of the VFW. I asked him, I double asked him, I triple asked him. I spoke to Tom Kimball at the American Legion, asked him, double asked him, and it was like, it's too hot, it's too late at that time of the day. The veterans are with their families having their barbecues or whatever, and Billy did not want to come. I mean, we asked him, and even to the point where a couple of weeks before, I asked again, because I said, if we're gonna have vets, we need to get cars, and the answer was no. And then we offered the vets to sell the water and the soda. I made a phone call specifically to say, if you guys want the water and soda, we don't have anybody do it. And they said no, they couldn't handle it. So there were a lot of opportunities for them to come, and they specifically, which is fine, as long as they don't say that it was our fault that they weren't there. It's fine if they have their Memorial Day, and that's perfectly fine. But we would have loved to have had them.
So I just want to clear that up. I don't want to be labeled whatever I'll be labeled, and you can imagine. So anyway, we did our best, I felt. So also just, I'd like to thank Marie and Fran, and the rest of the board actually, and Lynn donated pops once again for all the kids and the bikes, I think, and so thank you, Lynn. Steve was on hand helping me put stuff up and selling during the day, 50-50 tickets. So it's a lot of people that came together at the end, and it's a long haul really. If there's any volunteers out there, we could definitely use you next year, and we'll advertise for our next meeting, and hopefully people will come. So thank everyone that was involved. Back to business, accept resignation of Greg Phillips. I have a letter here from Greg that I'll read. I'm writing to inform you that my last day in office will be Friday, July 26th, 2019. I'm electing to utilize my accrued PTO by remaining on payroll per Article 6, Section E of the Employee Handbook. The actual date of my retirement, therefore, will be at the end of that time period. July 21st marks the 22nd anniversary of my full-time employment with the village, and that time more than 1.24 billion gallons of water have been processed through the treatment facility and into our community. While there have been many challenges along the way, a constant effort was made to make the best of what we have and move forward. I've served 4 mayors, 6 or 7 board configurations, and ultimately the entire community, with the hope that I brought the same professionalism in dealing with each. Regards, Greg Phillips. So, I will make a motion to accept the resignation of Greg Phillips.
Second.
Any comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, application for use of Dockside Park.
Just one thing, I'm sorry to interrupt, but did we skip the justice report?
No, we didn't.
No, we did it.
Oh, we did? Oh.
You didn't read that.
I didn't read that. I usually just read that one page. If
Okay,
you guys
sorry.
would like
I
me to
missed-
read those, I
just
can go through.
Got distracted, sorry.
You want to set? Sure. Do you guys want to set a date for a retirement party for Greg, like we had for Mary?
I spoke to Jim Eli today, and spoke to Greg, and I think that the options are like July 27th or August 3rd. Jim was very busy, so he didn't get a chance to confirm one way or the other, but I will go back to him if that's okay, if either of those dates are okay with the board.
I can't do the 27th.
Okay, so the 3rd. All right, so we're
And then
gonna.
those are our only 2 options.
Well, the 10th is the wine, we can go after that, we can go after August 10th, into like the 17th or something.
What's the venue?
We were thinking Mayor's Park, we were thinking, have Jim cater it, similar to what we did for Mary, and I found some of the old emails. It would be a ticket, event, everyone was coming paid tickets, and we used it to pay for, the catering, and I think we got Mary a little gift to go with it. So it would be a similar type of event. We sent emails to, I have a list of people you sent emails to, and we posted, we advertised it in the paper. So we could go later, we could go to August 17th, I guess, I'd have to check the calendars to see.
Thoughts on date 3rd, okay, or do you want to have it later or in the fall or whatever? I guess it doesn't have to be right away. Hopefully Greg's not going anywhere.
Yeah, does Greg have any dates?
I threw out a couple of dates, and he said the 3rd or the 10th, but then the 10th is the wine and food festival that weekend, so we can do that. And I'm sure, he said at this point he was flexible.
What time of day were you thinking?
We did Mary's in the evening, like 5 o'clock. It could be, we could do whatever.
Mayor's Park's not available the 10th.
Right, we know that, yeah, okay, that's fine. Are they available on the 17th?
It's available the 17th.
All right, so if that's a good date, I can throw that date out.
Of August?
August, yeah.
Probably pencil that in just so nothing happens.
Okay, I will talk to Greg, I'll talk to Jim. And then we have to, shortly after that, do the senior event.
We should become a catering.
No, I'm not a party person, I don't do this stuff.
You sure do plan a lot of parties though.
This is
Well,
what, when give it to
Do you guys want to go to 3rd? Or do you want to take a breather and go a little farther out?
Farther out's better.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know what my calendar is.
I'd like to go further, but.
Okay. See what's available on the
Alright.
17th. Or whatever date was.
Either one's good for me.
With, Greg
Okay,
also.
All right.
I'll check.
Gotta get him
Yes.
inked in first.
Do you want me to pencil both dates in?
What's that?
Do you want me to hold both
If
of
you
those
could,
dates?
I'll let you know.
Okay, next, our 2 applications for Dockside. First is Carol Lane for Philadelphia. It's a wedding. Let's see, I think you should have the application in front of you. Estimate 50 guests. Anybody 2010 by Durant.
Ceremony.
Yeah, it's just a ceremony, right? It's
A 1-hour ceremony.
What's that?
It's a 1-hour ceremony.
Oh, okay.
Everything looks okay, other than the tent is gonna be up an extra day, but other than that,
They said that's only weather.
yeah.
So,
Okay, so, I'll make a motion to approve the, Carol Lane wedding ceremony for August 23rd at Mayor's Park.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
okay.
Okay, hang on just for a second longer. Just do the first one. Second is is a wedding reception on October 13th. John, is that right? Or,
John, Park College.
and-
It's actually the 12th.
Do you have the application? Because I think that's a typo, the 13th.
Okay, it's probably on the, yeah, it
It's
is on
on
the
the 12th.
application, it's the 12th.
Yeah, it's on the 12th, with the breakdown day of the 13th.
Band tents,
What's the name?
you guys have any?
That's us.
Yes, I
That's
thought,
us.
I thought so.
That's
That's
a
my
wedding.
niece and her daughter.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
a wedding
okay.
at the bandstand that day too.
Well, they've got Dockside.
Hmm?
They
This
have
is-
And I'm
Dockside.
just saying that, just so people know that this.
Go to the right wedding.
Well, this is just the reception, not the ceremony.
The only thing I saw with this is, there's a breakdown day, and that's an additional $250 for a breakdown day.
I think we should start waiving that, or just have the tent up for that day, for them to come. What day is it, it's Saturday?
Saturday.
And when will they come and get
Columbus
the
Day
tent?
weekend.
Will they get the tent on Sunday, or
They'll get it on Sunday.
will they get it on Sunday?
Durant will come on Sunday to pick up, because
Yeah, yeah, you just have to pay extra for it.
Okay, I think we should waive that, the breakdown.
If they're paying extra to pick up the tent, because they have the breakdown.
Yeah.
Well, that's unusual for
Yeah.
a Sunday pickup.
I'll pay extra for it.
I'll double check with them. It's not in, I have the proposal from Durant, but it doesn't-
Normally, they just do pickups on Monday.
They came in, the last wedding, they came and took the tent on. Sunday.
One of the problems that they have is during, the West Point football season, because they do so much work at West Point, they leave pickups for Sundays, Mondays.
I believe they may have
If
lost
there's
that
an extra
contract.
fee for us to have to do that, that's fine.
Normally, there's an additional fee for the breakdown, but Dave has recommended that we consider waiving it.
Yeah, if it's just for that. You just have to understand that there's no security for that, so if that tent's in there, you know, and you have it there an extra day, that we're not, the village isn't responsible for that. If somebody drives in there, or I don't know, you know. Just, we're working on, we don't have a chain up yet or whatever, but we're working on it, but just be aware that that's one of the problems right now. If you bring stuff there and leave it there, we really don't have
There's no security.
there's no security there.
Okay, so,
So-
I don't think anything will happen, but people have left stuff there, but just be aware of that. And have insurance, make sure that's insured. I think.
There's insurance and then they charge a fee for.
So we would modify the, application to waive the fee for the breakdown day.
Yeah.
right. And you've already submitted the $1,000 deposit,
And it wouldn't change that.
right?
Okay, is that good, or is there anything else you need? Okay. So usually we charge for a setup day and a breakdown day, so we'll waive the breakdown day, so you got.
They're setting up the same day.
Yeah. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, great.
I just have one question that, Durant was asking if there's any requirements for the tent.
What's that,
Before
sorry?
we submit the tent, permit application, she added fire extinguishers and lights and some things that they have been required to put in the past.
Right.
So they wanted to know if there was anything they needed to add. that you require that come with
No,
a tent.
I think the one concern wasn't depending on the tent, was is that it was secured, and I think that's more to you guys. I think that you'd be kind of liable or responsible if the tent takes off or something. So I would make sure, I think that they're a really reputable company, so as long as it's staked down well and they have fire extinguishers, I think that was what we needed.
What are the hours of your wedding reception?
1:30 to, I'm not sure what it's actually my daughter's.
Mhm.
But,
I'm just thinking for your sake, if you want lights there, I mean, that's,
No, we'll
It'll be over.
out and gone for the,
Okay.
we did rent a force station, Corda.
okay.
And,
Oh, so you have a porta potty too?
Yeah.
So the actual reception starts at 1-ish?
1:30.
Okay.
As soon as she walks over.
And then the one other thing too was cars. You're aware that we wanted to have as minimal cars, so like 10 or so. If you bring them in, there's plenty of parking for that, so we put that on you guys and hopefully
I think it would just be the food truck, the band, the music, car or whatever, and just like the service, any just, it has to come in for service, that's when the
Right.
bar stuff. The
Okay.
rest of the parking will keep that at
Probably
at
turn off.
or the boat
Right.
club.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you bring the cars around where the bend is in the driveway and park towards the woods there, that's usually good. Then it's, the rest of the park stays open. I'll go down and put up like a rope that goes across so that designate where your area is, so.
Okay,
yeah,
great.
We can.
Who is supplying the portable toilets?
Durant.
Durant's supplying that too, okay, so they have to pick everything up together.
Okay, so I will make a motion to approve the application with the modification of no additional fee for breakdown, the amount of $1,200.
Second? Go ahead, Lynn.
Okay, I'll second it.
Lynn has got that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good luck. Send us some pictures. We want to kind of keep a little portfolio
Stop
going.
down.
All right, congratulations. That's great. All right, set the day for, senior, did I say that? Set the day for
Didn't do
the
that.
senior employee appreciation thing.
Another year gone by.
Another year.
It's usually September, like,
Yeah.
right after Labor Day.
You tell me.
Thank you.
September. We got we can do it the 7th, we can do it the 14th.
Or the 21st or the 28th.
Right.
Do we have to do it on Saturday,
I thought you were gonna say, do we have to?
It's usually, when else would you do it?
Sunday?
We tried it once on a Sunday and
And didn't work?
we had problems because it conflicted with many people's plans for church and ongoing plans for family get-together, dinners and we had, you may remember, we had a terrible turnout that year.
Oh,
That was-
sweltering.
And that too.
And was it raining? We had it at the firehouse.
We had
Ended
it
up
at the
going.
firehouse, yes.
Right. We had maybe 20.
Those memories.
How far we've come, we've learned so much.
I would think
No, we haven't.
I would think later in the month would potentially give us a bit cooler weather. Your concerns that you were concerned.
I work all day Saturday, now that Greg has taken a second job.
We'll excuse you.
She'd
Oh, I
like
don't
to
wanna
be there.
miss
Just
it.
say
I
Say go,
like
go,
that, I
go.
missed
So
it
much.
last year because, anyway.
The people that come there, I just can't imagine having a lot of, if you notify them, I don't think that they'll.
I get a
if we have
kick
it
out of
after
it.
church.
I do.
You want to have it on Sunday or Saturday?
It's
Doesn't
just
matter to
me.
me.
Lynn wants to be there, let's have
I'm
it
there
on
either way.
Sunday.
No, we really got a lot of pushback
We did.
about having it on a Sunday.
From who? From the
The
people?
seniors.
Really?
The
Yeah,
seniors.
because it's
It-
Yeah, that's
it's
great
good
for
that-
that.
But it's at 2 and they show up at 11. So
Gotta get front
it's
row
gonna mess
seats.
church up.
All
I can
right,
see
well,
it.
I'm on Saturday.
I'm
No
just
way.
saying, there were complaints that it conflicted.
I'll find a way to contribute anyway.
Yeah,
We'll
you
have-
always do.
We'll have it on Saturday.
Then I'll run over and
I
manage
need a
store
day to
for a couple
recover
of hours so
after.
you can compare.
That's right, we need a
Tell me
day to
what to do and I'll
recover.
come here.
What time?
21st, September 21st.
Yeah, what time?
What do we usually do, noon?
Whatever time you do, they're there.
What time would
Say
they like
2
to
o'clock.
have it? What would they like to have?
It's usually around noon.
Say
right?
2, which is
No,
noon.
yeah,
Noon, yeah,
If we say noon, they're there at 10:30.
yes.
that's okay.
You're right.
Let's make it.
And
So
then-
let's tell them 1
Right.
and we'll be there.
Tell them
at
we're not
noon.
opening.
They'll
we're not-
still be there at 11
We're not
o'clock.
opening the wine till noon.
The seniors really like this, and
They do,
they
they
get
enjoy it.
there as early as
Yeah,
possible.
and
They
do
want food when
enjoy
they
it.
show up too. They don't want to be waiting
Well,
around.
This is true
Put
too,
the
they
chips
would like
up.
to eat as soon as they get home.
They are
Well,
angry.
they're-
Depend on us for contributions.
Skip their
What's that?
Just depend on us for contributions of food and
Okay, well, who also, that's a big part of this, and I'm not doing this again, going door to door and asking whoever, we have a list from last year, right?
Yes,
We do, yeah.
Fran and I will
Okay.
divide it
God
up.
bless, God bless you.
I'm sorry, Fran.
No, I'm only teasing Marie, that's fine.
No,
And
I'll put
this is-
a
this
couple
is all-
Sundays aside too.
This is also besides the
Do the
seniors, it's
begathon,
the
too.
appreciation for all the volunteers in the village, so, you know.
Yeah, just, I write the date
The
down.
21st of September, Mayor's Park at the Pavilion,
Yeah, for the 21st?
21st.
12 o'clock till the sun comes up.
No,
Actually,
they'll be
no.
gone as soon as,
They'll
as soon
be
as they
gone.
leave.
Yeah, as soon as dessert is served, they're out of there.
But what about all of the other appreciated
Well,
volunteers?
if you look at
They
who
might stick
the
around.
attendees.
I'm kidding.
last year, we didn't get a lot of,
And we don't usually get a lot of the volunteers, the people who,
the HDRB, the ZBA,
We
the
should promote it a
refugees.
little more.
Yeah.
you know, I mean, if they come, we just need RSVP so they have an idea of how much food to get.
Okay.
So we'll start working on the list of invitees
Okay.
sooner rather than later.
All right.
The highway department was represented.
Yes.
Yes, they were.
So we set the 21st?
Yes.
21st and noon.
21st at high noon.
Okay. I wrote it down.
Thank you. You'll get the invitation, you have to pass it.
Yeah,
on
I
to
just
your
wanted,
board.
that's, I saw the agenda, so I thought I'd stay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we do have this resolution, but I'm not gonna read that, it doesn't, they're just doing it.
Yeah, I thought it was sort of strange, but Jeff said that sort of what needs, the way it works.
So, anyway,
The resolution doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I didn't think. it did
Whereas
either.
the town of Phillipstown is the owner of certain real property located at 238 Main Street, Cold Spring, New York, improved by the town hall. Improved by the town hall. What does,
The property is improved by building on it?
I don't know what that means. Whereas both the town hall is located within the territorial boundaries of the incorporated village of Cold Spring and whereas the town, it's both the town hall and there should be something else.
Yeah, and something, you know, whatever. Anyway, they voted on it.
Basically, we got a notification from Phillipstown stating that the work that they're doing on the town hall is out of our jurisdiction, is the bottom line, and they cite the County of Monroe balancing test, so that they are exempt from our HDRB and our zoning and our planning.
They didn't say it's out of, they are in our jurisdiction, but they're
No, I
declaring
mean-
themselves exempt.
Right,
From
well, I
having to
meant
go
that
through any of the
out of
boards.
our, yes, that wasn't the right word, I guess, under our
They are not, they're,
purview, under our,
they are asserting that they are not
They're
bound
exempt.
by our laws. I thought we went through this.
We
We
did.
did with the Dahlia House. I
The
think.
Dahlia, for the Dahlia
Yeah,
House.
and I thought it ended up that they
They conformed.
conformed to the HDRB and it worked out fine.
so I think we just need this in the
But that was
letter.
like a
as
19
I think we asked them as a courtesy if they would show us the, you know, what their intentions were.
Right.
Well, this is sort of like their opening salvo. Boom.
It is.
Yeah,
I know.
to me, it seemed backwards, it should have been a request and then we would have done the resolution, but I guess, I said that to Jeff and he said this is sort of the way.
Well, we wouldn't have a resolution because, unless
No,
we found,
we would've-
unless we think differently.
Okay.
And I think we had John look into this last time. And I think we determined that, you know, that they were right, but please,
Well-
we have HDRB that spends a lot of time working on historic buildings and this is,
Well, conforming to the HDRB for this building as opposed to the 1960s Dahlia house,
Yeah.
there's a big difference.
difference, yes,
Because
I
that,
agree.
this is, you can't even compare the two buildings. So,
And I kind of mentioned that the only thing that I would worry about would be the windows and going cheap on those and putting snap-on buttons or something.
I can't
I think
imagine
they're
them doing
also- are they
that.
putting-
I could, no way.
Really?
No, I
Are
hope.
they putting the elevator outside or inside?
Inside, I thought.
No, it's going inside, yeah. I think it'll be the entrance to the, or no, to the right, and then staircase to the left is one of the initial plans.
And they just went out for bids, so this is gonna be forever.
What's that?
They just went out for bids. They
I
just
know,
had to
the
make
thing
it
is, they
right.
went out for bid, and in the bid pack is probably the design.
Isn't it in your
bid.
paper?
I don't think we have the results yet.
No, no,
Yeah,
but the
they're-
request for bids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah,
a
when
bit
it is.
problematic and kind of an insult in a way, because our boards did get a chance to look at stuff that's going out to bid, which will determine what the bids are. They have to have specs for windows, doors, siding, et cetera. So, anyway, I think we'll draft, I'll send something up and ask for a courtesy peek at the specs. Nothing we'd have to do on that. Approval of bills.
Okay. I move to approve batch number 5172 for a total amount of $181,893.23.
I'll second. Any discussion?
You need to sign that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of minutes, June 11th, 2019, village board meeting. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And finally, June 25th, the workshop meeting. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Public comment? Yes, Frank?
The village has redone the parking by drawing the parking spaces on Main Street, at least down at lower end. I think that's good. You've got, designated spaces for cars and trucks, whereas previously there was some uncertainty as to where and how people have parked. So I think that's good. But the parking that's been marked out actually exceeds or extends into the do not park area at Fish, at the intersection of Fish and Main or Market and Main. And maybe you're aware of that, maybe you're not, but occasionally you get a very large truck that tries to make a turn there. So I don't know what the plan was, because the signs will still say, do not park from here to the curb, but then there's a parking space. If you don't see the sign, you look at the white marked out space
So this is turning from Market
to Main.
what's that?
I looked at it. I mentioned to Bugsy on what it was. Normally, for when you make the left-hand turn there, as you said, it's big trucks. Also for the fire truck has to do a wide turn. So originally, before we redid the spots, the sign goes about 15 feet in, and there's no parking allowed. They actually painted out the parking space with the sign actually, do not park here at the corner, with the space to the corner. So I mentioned to Bugsy, and I think what he was looking to do is he was gonna go down and take a look at it and either put black over the spots, because it's we gained 2 spots realistically, that's what it comes down to down there. Either he was gonna put it back to where it was and just paint over the white lines that are there, or possibly, and I'm not speaking for him, I'm just saying what I thought was, we could still gain that inner spot right in front of the Argentinian, I think that's what's on the corner, because the fire truck can actually still make the wide turn to leave that spot, to remove the spot on the right-hand side, which would be the north part of the street. And that would be something we would definitely look at, but the way they did it, they painted it,
Yeah.
they made a mistake.
I don't know how long the fire trucks are. Occasionally you get a 48-foot or a 52-foot truck that just, they run out of short trucks and they dispatch these large ones once every 2 years. You can't have that
Turn
turn.
down and take a look. Ask them to take a drive down.
He didn't do it.
Yeah. Do they have to, is that
I think they could do it.
question as to the other ones?
I believe that the spots on the north side of the street.
Yep.
They have to do that.
Okay.
The other thing that happened with the fire truck is Furnace Street. They weren't able to make the turn into Furnace Street, which is why the first space on the east side of Furnace Street is marked out. That permits them to make that turn.
Correct.
Okay, well, maybe we talk to the fire company just to make sure, but I think that's a good solution, and we can get one more parking spot, so.
Yeah, because I noticed in the past when we did last year's parade and the parade before that, Garrison brought a bigger truck than what Cold Spring has, and they had an issue making the turn there at the time because somebody was parked closer to the far corner. As long as they can come out and do a wide turn that way, it's usually never a problem on the inside.
Right.
But again, or an 18-wheeler making the right in, delivering to the Hudson House or whatever they may be. But I did notice that.
All right. Good. Anything else?
Since I'm up talking about roads, I'm sure you've heard this, but I guess like Outer Fair Street and Market and Chestnut and Benedict and parts of One Terrace, I know there's some work that's been done on the roads, but there's quite a bit of, uneven surfaces in those areas.
Pass that on to highway. Anything else? From the board? Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Fran's got that one, Michael. Fran's got that second.
Thank you, you read my mind.